Hello viewers, Samana Rukidaka Nishna, B20 Summit to Aji, that is 5th April Day, Kohima Laga State's Chief Minister, Nipiro Laga Residence, State Banquet Holder Luese, Aro, first session de do, inaugural session Takiula Signa Jankari Paisi, Aro, Dulapode Ajila Summit, Tourism, Commerce and Industries, Agriculture, Horticulture, Healthcare, Aro, Food Processing La Opode Interaction Kurubulese.
Respected guests, dignitaries, today. Ladies and gentlemen, I am your MC, Susan Andami, and it is a great honor to stand before you on behalf of G20's B20 India Secretariat.
We are happy to welcome you to the fourth and the last B20 conference in Northeast, focusing on multilateral partnership in agriculture, food processing, tourism and information technology in Kohima here. Nagaland is also a much sought after tourist destination led by Hornbill Festival, reflecting the rich ethnic tribal culture through its folk dances, music, handicraft and food. We understand that the state is planning to come up with various policies to support the industrial and investment climate in the state. CIA would be keen to associate with the state in drafting of competitive and user-friendly policies for the state. Keeping our commitment in Northeast, CIA is planning for an agro-tech exposition, a medical tourism conclave and a franchise show in the region.
For today's session on agriculture and food processing, and end with what we look at it from DPIIT for B20, which is our primary engagement group. In fact, in DPIIT, which looks at promotion of industry and internal trade, we have got two engagement groups. The oldest one, which is B20, Business 20, and the newest one, which is Startup 20, which is India's initiative for setting up engagement group this year. Today's conference also looks at food processing industry. Food processing industry is one of the largest in the world, and is one of the largest in the world, and we are expecting its output to reach to 535 billion by 25-26. And with India's consumer spending expected to grow to 6 trillion by 2030, we are likely to see many more Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities mirroring the trend visible in metropolitan areas, which are consuming more processed food in the coming years. And this food processing, again, is an allied activity of agriculture, adds to employment, value generation, and helps the farmers move up the value chain.
India's G20 presidency is a great opportunity for the country, and especially for our state and the Northeast region. We are grateful to the Government of India for giving us this opportunity to host you all in this beautiful city of Kohima. The physical infrastructure of Nagaland is getting rapidly upgraded. While we are building better roads to connect all parts of the state capital of Kohima is being connected with a new railway line, which will connect the state with the rest of the country. A new network of small airstrips and heliports is also being developed in various important towns. We hope that the discussions made today at the G20 conference here in Nagaland will herald the theme of India's G20 presidency, that is, one earth, one family, one future.
It is an honor to welcome you for this Business 20 initiative in Kohima today. It is momentous as India's presidency comes at a crucial juncture in international relations as we emerge from the pandemic. Just to highlight one, we are continuously working for seamless land and rail connectivity with Bangladesh. The Northeast today can be seen as the center of the potentially dynamic regions of the world. I wish you the best of deliberation and best of stay here in Kohima. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Nagaland, the land of festivals, with its beautiful landscape, vibrant greenery, and the abode of indigenous people with a rich and colorful culture hopes to find a special place in your heart. The G20 Forum provides the perfect platform for international economic cooperations for the benefit of all of us. It gives us great pleasure to host this very significant G20 business meet for the benefit of the state and the entire Northeast and the country. On our part, we assure you that the state is fully geared up to put in place all the requisite system and enabling policy framework for ensuring a robust exchange of investment and business opportunities and facilitating a rapid and sustained industrial development in our state. We will ensure that creation of an investor-friendly environment, provision of infrastructure and institutional support, attractive incentive packages, and optimum utilization of existing resources in order to gainfully utilize emerging opportunities in the national and international market.
I'm privileged to propose vote of thanks on this historic event, which is graced by many world leaders and dignitaries from across the world. It is a matter of great pride and privilege for Nagaland to have the opportunity to host the B20 initiative, the official G20 dialogue forum for the global business community. Thank you everyone for making this event a reality. I hope our esteemed guests enjoy the conference and that we all will have a meaningful outcome of this business meet. I hope you have a pleasant and memorable Nagaland experience. I wish you all a wonderful stay at Kohima.
We've been talking about turmeric for the last 20 years. Turmeric powder, turmeric export, turmeric cultivation, lakadong. Let's move over this. Let's talk about producing curcumin. You will get 1,000 times more price for this. Let's set up curcumin because the region has transportation bottleneck. We need to focus on low volume, high value products. We need to bring in a technology. Let's focus on producing oleoresin. Let's try and produce curcumin. You go and Google the cost of curcumin tablets and capsules in the market. It's all over the world. Let's do it. Our Honorable CM has mentioned about papaya. We cannot eat papaya and survive. Let's try and produce papain. Papain will give you a huge market resource. This is a food tenderizer. Every restaurant in the world uses papain because it is a meat tenderizer. It is a derivative from papaya. So we can think about it because we cannot market papaya. If you try and market 2 truckloads of papaya today, you will not have enough buyers, even in Dimapur or Kohima. We have also spoken about Naga king chili. Yes, I love the king chili. But how much can you eat? Now people are talking about micro-food. You want to actually have a bottle of micro-food and you can actually feed 1,000 people. You have to go into it. Sports medicine has a huge application and demand for capsaicin. So you can actually produce capsaicin from the king chili.
You might also have heard from the earlier presentations that all kinds of superfoods are grown in Nagaland. Some of them are native to us, some of them were imported as late as 3-4 years back. Avocado, dragon fruit, you name it, kiwi, are being cultivated in bulk and being marketed in the supermarkets of metropolitan cities across the country. Now, although these were being produced, the marketability was limited and therefore we thought that there has to be economies of scale. We need to realize the economies of scale for which aggregation is required. For aggregation, cluster approach has to be adopted. Earlier speakers have spoken about ODO, one district, one product produce, and we are very proactively proceeding in that direction, and we have been able to produce volumes and many more. As the demand requires the supply, more and more crops that are being demanded in the rest of the countries are being produced, and we have at times glut of produce. This needs to be addressed, and for this food processing industry comes into play.
So the Tata Projects Limited, as we all know, is involved in various businesses, especially in developing the infrastructure in the country, inspecting and offering the advisory services for the development. As far as our TQ Cert services and TQS services are concerned, in this we are offering the certification services, especially to impart confidence and trust in the products as well as the services offered by various companies.
If you look into the entire landscape of Northeast, whether it be Nagaland or Mizoram or Manipur, you will find so many youths who has this innate capability of speaking in English, which is neutral accent. And in 2021, there was a report from NASCOM which says that more than 22% of the entire BPO market in India is scattered by people from the Northeast. Now, why are we not having the BPO industry in this Northeast itself, where our own people can come down and stay here, eat the good organic food that people are talking about, breathe the fresh air and not the air, polluted air in Delhi? Why don't we establish a BPO center here? It's doable. But why is it not happening? Maybe 5 years before, it was not possible. Because internet was a big challenge. We hardly get around 10 Mbps or 15 Mbps is something which we feel it's very great, but that cannot drive the BPO industry. But now you have a very good internet service. But again, there's one challenge. The kind of internet that we get in the Northeast, especially in Mizoram, Nagaland, and Manipur, the kind of latency, we call it latency. This is measured in terms of milliseconds. This is like you send a signal to US and it has to come back in some few milliseconds. The latency is quite long. So if you want to have a BPO industry, the latency has to be low. It has to be at least around, maximum around 40 milliseconds. Otherwise, you cannot make a voice call. So even though if you have a bigger bandwidth, 5G has a bigger bandwidth, 4G has a bigger bandwidth, Geo can provide a bigger bandwidth, but that might not be sufficient. You might need to have a gateway, maybe in Nagaland or Mizoram. Of course, I think Tripura is going to is getting a gateway, but then I think this has to be utilized very well, effectively to bring about this, BPO market in this Northeast.
It's a wonderful opportunity to grow the textile industry in this region. This opportunity is worth more than $3 billion, and there's an opportunity to create more than 200,000 new jobs. This is the only part of the world that has more than 3 million trained weavers. That's a huge pool of talent that's already readily available. Muga silk is a geographically protected variety of silk, and it is present only in this region, anywhere in the world. And another interesting thing is that only 50% of the demand for this material is met by the current production for various reasons. Eri silk is another variety that is endemic to this region, and it has a very good potential in farming as well as in downstream activity like spinning, weaving, value addition. In fact, there are great opportunities in all aspects of production and consumption in the entire value chain in the region itself.
In agri-tourism, the best is that the green banks who are helping for the agri-tourism. This is one point we need to focus on this, because only agriculture and agri-tourism we can collaborate with together. I think that film tourism, whether it's in India or abroad, will help to promote tourism in each other countries. So this is where we should instead of being, we are also doing the wildlife, we are doing birding, we are doing hornbill, but when we are doing a film shooting in respective places, this will definitely help our other destinations in India or abroad. Thank you very much.
Now, the roadmap that we have as a department and as representing the government that we have set up for the state is that we want to develop districts, our districts in the state as production centers. And the production centers will consist of clusters and economic zones. These clusters and economic zones will cater to manufacturing industries, food processing, handloom and handicraft sectors of the economy. We hope to achieve this through state intervention, private investment, and through promotion of entrepreneurs. This will create an enabling, we also hope to create an enabling ecosystem through our policies. We are to increase access to credit and also improve private investments. We hope to tie up all these value chain and production centers through logistics hubs and aggregation centers. So that is the roadmap for industry in the short and medium term.
The another sector, of course, for us, fundamental in our cooperation is the Ayurveda. We are developing a cooperation with India in order to improve the work of the Panchakarma Center in Havana, but also to improve the formation of the young medicine student to have as a complementary medicine formation the Ayurvedic medicine. And the last sector is the agriculture, taking into consideration that we are importing right now a very important amount of Indian rice. So in that way, I would like to confirm our will to develop the relationship with Nagaland, using the economic potential, using the potential in the agriculture, and also having into consideration that Cuba is very well known by the international cooperation. We would like to offer all our capacity of cooperation in the field of medicine, education, and sports in the same way we are exploring different opportunities with some other Indian states.
In spite of the huge difference in size and population, Iceland and India, Iceland and Nagaland have many things in common. As one of our poets put it, the heartbeat of the people is the same all over the world. And this applies to all of us. I'd like to highlight a few matters that we have in common. And firstly, the global cooperation on sustainability and creating a sustainable future for all according to the Sustainable Development Goals. We have directed our efforts to protect the natural resources of the ocean, fish stocks, and promote the utilization of renewable energy, sustainable energy, especially geothermal energy, which is also in abundance in India, especially here in the northern part of the country. We welcome the emphasis of the Indian and the Nagaland governments on sustainability that aims to promote green energy and better quality of life for future generations. Secondly, I would like to mention tourism. And one only has to look around to see the great potential for a robust tourism sector in Nagaland. And it is a wonderful tourist destination, and especially for the concerned and nature-loving visitor who is respectful of the culture and the nature of the country he or she is visiting. Thirdly, I would like to highlight innovation, which lies at the heart of the policies of our government, but clearly also at the policies of the Indian government and the Nagaland government. We would like to explore opportunities that lie in the health sector, software development, green technology, the creative sector, culture, tourism, of course, and specialized products and nature products. Both our countries are innovative countries, despite the difference in size, with a strong technical infrastructure, education system, research and development institutions, and also a great support for gender equality. But first and foremost, we have people with good and new ideas. Thank you.
So the areas of collaboration and cooperation that I would identify center primarily on tourism. Jamaica, as a mature tourism destination, has a tremendous amount of experience in promotion, in travel trade engagement, in branding development and placement. And so these are areas that we feel that we could lend some assistance to Nagaland in crafting a value proposition to diverse your tourism mix and to better engage the travel world. There are also areas of economic impact assessment. I hear a lot of talk about festivals. It's always good to apply an economic model to gauge the social and economic impact of an event. And so in this regard, we have fashioned some economic models that we use to determine the viability of an event, how much economic impact it's going to have, what is going to be the cost of the event to the economy and to the stakeholders, and finally, of course, which areas we should be pushing. There are also areas of sport tourism and diversified. Nagaland, I find to be particularly amenable to staging high-intensity sporting events, things like Ironman races, mega events that bring people from all over the world and give you the type of exposure that you need to grow as a tourism destination. And this is something we have a lot of experience in. I, in fact, have the honor of having written Jamaica's sport tourism policy. So this is something we're very strong in. Thank you. The cultural expose that was on show last night was nothing short of incredible. It is truly admirable. And I couldn't help but feel that it could have, I can't wait to see the collaboration between that and some reggae music so that we can really rock the planet in true fashion. So I look forward. Thank you.
The weaving and tribal exchange will be very positive. As I mentioned, we have 7 kind of tribal groups in Panama. And the learning from weaving will be very interesting, and an exchange of tribal knowledge and how each tribal in each country, or in this case a state, can make an interchange of different kind of best practices in that area, and best practices in agriculture too. We are very good in agriculture also, because we are a low population country. We have a control of that, but of course there are things we can share and we can learn together. So I think that cultural exchange and agricultural exchange of knowledge and best practices will be something that can be developed.
So collaboration can be summed up in these fields: agribusiness, also cattle raising. We are very famous in cattle raising. Actually, we are only 7.5 million inhabitants and 22 million cows. So I know in this part of India, they like also good meat. We also have goats and sheep growing up. So we have plenty of field to collaborate in these areas. Finally, cultural exchange. I believe that Nagaland is very strong in that field, and we can learn a lot of Nagaland in this regard.
The Honourable Chief Minister yesterday reminded us of the proud history and the geographical spread of Nagas. And that is something that fascinates me all the time. It is my second visit, and I'm really happy to be back in Nagaland. I first came here in December 2021 on the occasion of the Hornbill Festival, and I would like to really recommend that festival to all of my colleagues and all visitors from abroad in December. It is really mind-boggling. We will get a little taste of that probably this afternoon. But in 2021, unfortunately, that festival was cut short. It found a tragic ending with the killing of 14 civilians in Moon Province. by the blotched action of special forces. I think that the fact that the government of India is inviting us to Nagaland, despite of some ongoing demands from civil society that we could have read about today in the papers, is a sign of the maturity of the Indian democracy. And it is really good that we are here and that we are reading and learning from the Nagas about the situation here and about the ongoing negotiations and about the will on all sides to find solutions for that. Nagaland is an example of where we see a huge biodiversity that is being protected, and we also see probably that climate change is not stopping at its borders. And then again, it shows us how this is all interlinked and how we have to work together for that. When it comes closer to the businesses that we have been introduced to today, I think what I take along is that in the sustainability elements we have talked about in the tourism sector, in the textile sector, we have also one of the sponsors, Ecolastics, Eurocentric approach here, I guess. The Ecolastics as one of the sustainability partners, which are producing solutions that we can use in everyday life, and it is something that I also take along as a very important element for the future. I'm not going to go through all the elements that we have heard. We don't have the time for that. I'm simply saying it was a very enlightening one. I'm taking it back, and I'm sure that also my colleagues from the Diplomatic Corps are going to report back about the business opportunities here, and that we are trying to come forward with propositions, and that there will be a possibility of the B2B and also the G2B meetings later on today. Thank you very much for that.
I must tell you that Bangladesh and India has a very good political and business relationship for a pretty long time. From the start of our nation, we are indebted to India for their support during our liberation war with Pakistan. And today, if you look at Bangladesh, we have a lot of Indian investments. In fact, my company is partner for Tata Motors and Hero Motors. And we have almost all the big companies in Bangladesh investing there. So we are, as you know, building our deep sea port in Chittagong, Matarbari. This deep sea port will help Nagaland to increase their exports, have direct access to the world, and also import whatever they want through Bangladesh. The immediate doables between Nagaland and Bangladesh, I found that we can do immediate industries on medicine, herbal medicines, and we can make joint venture both in Bangladesh and Nagaland and have research amongst our two countries. The other thing that we can immediately import is spices like ginger, chili, cardamom. These are all required by Bangladesh. As you may know, we have almost 180 million people, 17 to 18 crore people. And so we need a lot of these spices. The other thing that really surprised me, because I'm a coffee drinker, I found the Naga coffee excellent. So I have proposed that we will look into the prospects of making a new franchise called Naga Coffee. Start with Bangladesh, we'll invest in the first coffee parlor in Bangladesh, and then from Bangladesh, we're going to move into pan-India with the Naga coffee parlor. So I'm looking for Naga partners here who would like to talk to us. In fact, after this program, I'll be in the other room. So we'll be talking to people, trying to develop that. The other immediate doables is tourism. Bangladesh is absolutely flat, and we have rivers and sea. Here I see hills and beautiful scenarios. So we have complementary arrangements. So we are proposing, we have people from tourism with us. We are proposing agreements on exchanging of tourists between Nagaland and Bangladesh.
The state government has identified this sector as a key area for development and has launched various schemes to provide better infrastructure, technology, and marketing support to farmers. Investment in agribusiness food processing and cold storage facilities can add value to the agriculture produce and create employment opportunities. The state has about 650 indigenous species of medicinal and aromatic plants, which can help in promotion of pharmaceutical industry as well. With about 5% of India's growing stock of bamboo, the state has tremendous potential for development of bamboo-based industry. NEC advisor earlier had also mentioned about the bamboo ethanol production as an emerging sector. The importance of bamboo as the best possible wood substitute has been accepted by the world amidst the growing concern of climate change. Honey production in the state for 2021 is reported at 650 MT, and there is a production potential of 5,000 MT by 2030. Bees are not only a part of the biodiversity on which we all depend for our survival, but this will also be a substantial base for a honey-based industry to flourish. We believe for India, the G20 has accounted not only a geopolitical and diplomatic event, but a tremendous opportunity to highlight its hidden treasures and rich cultural legacy of the northeastern states and thus attract tourism. Nagaland's tourism industry has great potential for growth, given its picturesque landscape, diverse culture, and vibrant festivals. This has been proven by our globally recognized festival, the Hornbill Festival. But apart from this, Nagaland offers distinct opportunities in almost all major areas of tourism, such as adventure tourism, ecotourism, wellness tourism, cultural tourism, experiential tourism, and agrotourism, etc.
तो viewers अपनी खान दिखे लुशे P20 लगा business summit conference तो आज खत्म हुए और इतु summit लगा theme दो one earth one family one future लगा फिटर बाल लुशे और इतु summit ते 27 countries पर 60 overseas delegates खान आहिगे ना जो conference से attend करुशे overseas delegates कुम्बा बकोता कुरा हमोय Nagaland प्रदेश लगा cultural exchange खान दिवी तहान future day collab problem मुंजासे को नाक भी कुशे और Nagaland coffee लगा ऊपर दिवी तखान future day हमोय फाल हुशु गुले दो invest करिगिना collab करिगिना जावले भी तहान कथा कुरा टाइम दी एनागा जानुले दिशे तो इतु G20 ला summit पा Nagaland ला economy दे एकता game changer होबो. For more news and updates, keep watching Global Window. Moi si Chanbini, mula video journalist Zuchan, reporting from State Banquet Hall, Kohima.